I'm sure that a lot of you have noticed that every couple years, mostly 10, I would say, if not like it's definitely happening every decade, but every time there's a new bit of space and time, there's always the argument that things suck now, but things were better back then. And in reality, it's not really a fair statement because when you think about it, 10 years from now, we're going to remember and fantasize over the good nostalgia of what we're getting now, and we're not going to necessarily think about all the bad stuff that came out. And the one piece of media that I've always kind of agreed with the statement, despite not really, it might be a preference thing or whatever, but when I was young, I did not care for mainstream radio, and nowadays I still don't really care for mainstream radio. I always consider the music to be just a lot of the time repetitive, annoying, boring, and even recently it seems like there's really no difference because I think it was 2016 when the country pop explosion happened, and then hip hop got replaced, and country's kind of back into like the charts and everything now. Not a lot of people are listening to rap and hip hop in terms of like, or they're not getting as popular to be playing on the radio as much as they used to be. And where I also want to like consider with this conversation is that a lot of people also tend to, one of their examples is like, well, for this new generation, this stuff that's being advertised in the media and the stuff that's being popularized isn't a good example for like Gen Alpha. And where I'm coming from with this is that considering that music is a very important piece of my life, and seeing and like outside of the bigger bubble of like mainstream, I tend to listen to lots of music, and it inspires my own work, and I often want to have that. I want to like I really like the idea of showing someone something new and seeing how they react, whether it be positive, negative, so then I can like, because I kind of like come from a DJ mentality, considering how much time I spend on Spotify, but also switch from various platforms, not just Spotify. Like I got Spotify, my MP3, and obviously YouTube. And I have a pretty decent CD collection, with also some vinyl, that I tend to branch out way more than like just like indie stuff, like even local stuff. That if it catches my ear, I still want to like, I want to talk about it with someone. And when I was given the opportunity to work in the field of social service work, my position is a child and youth worker at the program that's basic. It's that program that's like more than just a daycare. It's like after school stuff at various different locations. Going in with my, like, what I had to bring to the table, considering at the time I started making music, that was something that I put on my resume, considering that I also started graphic design and all that. A lot of that was eventually gonna come back to me and be applied to, well, if I have to come up with like programming stuff to do, especially with when I had to work with teenagers, a lot of that stuff that I've already know off the top of my head was literally being turned into lessons, and I would actually have to showcase that with kids. Now, when I when I went into the idea of making this video, there will be definitely differences. There's obviously differences between child and youth worker, EAs, and teachers, but my stance on where I'm coming from with this particular idea can be pretty much applied to the different groups. And this doesn't even have to be specifically with kids. This could be like with adults with mental disabilities, which I've also worked in the field regarding that too. That if music is important to you and you want to like try to apply that to your work routine, that also like that it works out for everybody. Like this is an idea that I feel like is worth considering for the future. Now, when I was working with teens, I was given the opportunity to, considering that my music software that I use is free and you could just download it off the Microsoft Store, I had the opportunity to show teenagers how like I make the music, and like literally had to come up with like a lesson. We did like EDM for a basic example. And then afterwards you can just like make whatever you want with other stuff. There's no, because I'm so focused on experimental elements and just really just winging it, I had to come up with like my own interpretation of what would be considered the basics of how to do this. But not only going from there, I really always wanted to, when I had the opportunity to work with teenagers, is be in charge of playing music on, whether it be like just days that we're inside, or specifically the days that like it's completely free time for the whole day. And I would also be able to make the playlist, and I set out to create a playlist that was teenager appropriate. Now, the thing that I didn't know at the time was that you could bend the rules because they're teenagers. Basically, as long as you don't have explicit mentioning of like drug use and or like explicit swearing like constantly, you're basically good. But I didn't know that at the time. So instead, I knew my audience, and I definitely learned from examples too. So that we basically had a whole bunch. I went through playlists that I made through high school. I went through albums and stuff that I've listened to, basically from high school up to this point, that I wanted to share. And we got pop punk, pop, Linda Ronstadt, like it just goes on. And it's some indie artists like Alex Unknown, like just a bunch of great stuff. And it was that time that I like actually had the chance to get to know what they like and also add that to the playlist and like work around. Because at the same time, it's like whenever you're in charge as a child and youth worker, I feel like a lot of people, because a lot of people just tend to take the easy route and either put on the radio or put on your whatever the first child friendly playlist pops up on Spotify, it's not a bad thing. But at the same time, you got to consider like every single time in the day that these kids have to listen to that same type of music. And sometimes when I actually had, I think it was during field placement, a lot of, like I was just curious and I asked one of the kids, and they said like, yeah, they're tired of the radio. And we also had my other coworker that I inspired to be like when he would come in and the normal person that wasn't in charge wasn't there, he'd be like, we're listening to my music, I don't want to hear any complaining. I respected that. But at the same time, I like to come up with a balance that benefits everyone. I know that like when you really think about it, at the end of the day, if someone likes pop music, they're gonna probably like pop punk. And if someone likes rock music, there's a good chance they might like thrash metal. And where a lot of these comparisons come in to play is that a lot of music tends to use, the same things for specific genres, but at the same time, my favorite genres are genres that probably most of these kids have not even heard about. They don't even know. Some kids don't even know the definition of what the word genre even means. So going into this, I knew that it was going to be a wild ride, considering the amount of variety that I had on this playlist. And I spent basically a whole day going through every song, going through all the lyrics to make sure everything was appropriate, despite not really having to deal with that in the end. Like, it wasn't even like worth it until the future came. What I remember exactly, like in terms of reactions, there was, I think it was called Slow Down by The Academy that was on the playlist, and that, a lot of them liked that song. And someone really liked the song Finding Me by Vertical Horizon. They didn't like Emergency by Paramore, which was kind of, like, it's kind of strange, but at the same time, I kind of get it, because it is kind of, it's different listening to their first album and then listening to the rest of their work. And I really like that album, but there are some songs that do sound like kind of dated. And in terms of that, like, because I had the opportunity to show them how to make music, and they get to experiment with all these different genres. Some people didn't even know that there was like over 100, like there was 122 genres to choose from regarding that music program. That so many people had no idea of how much music there actually is, which was really cool. And going into like my next bit, I even actually had, like, later down the road when I had other new locations to work at, I was even given more opportunities, like coming up with an anthem for anti-bullying day, and we didn't get to do that because it just in the end we took a simpler approach. But regarding, like, with all that music, I knew that there was more ways to introduce music to the next set of kids that I would end up working with in the future. The biggest moment in my journey of showing the kids music was definitely summer camp this year. It started off pretty simple. I got really lucky because I had an infected toenail that needed to be removed, so I couldn't do any swimming. On the swimming days that we would go to the local pool, there was also a park, and I would just hang out there, and I would just bring a speaker. And what I did was I just went through the playlist for the teenagers, got rid of like stuff that was like more like mentioning of basically smoking, and pretty much mostly just mentioning of smoking, got rid of like, and any sort of drug use really in general. Those songs were removed off the list, and I just kept adding more songs that I started liking and that were appropriate for work, and then just basically became the work playlist. We started off pretty simple. As a huge fan of post-hardcore, it really pained me that I got rid of a lot of that for the teenagers, but then coming back to it, there was a very specific moment in summer camp that changed everything. And in this part, I want to talk about AI for a second. I know that AI is going to be like probably one of the most common topics to argue about in the next couple of years, if not like really just in general, for for where we are now as a society. And I know a lot of people will say this, but like, AI as a tool can be handy. Like, for example, I used to ChatGPT, I'd compare to in the same vein as like Siri. And the other thing too is I don't use ChatGPT for really anything except research, so I find that helpful. Now, where a very common, one of the most common arguments nowadays is terms of art. So here is my here's my experience regarding art. I don't think that AI should be used in any commercial sense. I don't think it should be used for art that people can literally make money off of not doing any work like for the art. That can be applied to art, music, written stuff that's literally written by AI. Like, I don't think that should be commercialized in any sense. And in terms of using AI as a tool, the only way that I see AI being used as a tool in a good way is from my experience with this. So when I found out about Suno AI, I thought it was pretty cool at first. I originally used it for like, just wanted to hear like some of the songs I wrote back in high school, having no idea like what to use like for melodies wise. And because I'm I normally make music first before I make an actual song. A lot of my songs are like meme stuff because I don't like writing serious music unless it's just strictly instrumental. So it was a cool thing at first. I do have some songs on the channel that were, done by Suno that I originally wrote in high school. And I don't think that that's right to commercialize off, to make money off of that because it's not made by me. Yes, I wrote the song, but one of the main reasons why I did this is if I could at least have a melody of what the song sounds like, then I could just do a cover or make an original song in the same melody as the song was made. Now, it's kind of, I like to apply this like with, I think it was Oni Plays, that they're the ones that really got me into the Suno AI, was when they made a song and then their friend basically did a cover of the song, and then that's like the song. So where I come from with this is, yeah, I did release stuff on the channel, but I do still have other AI songs that are like are going to remain unpublished until I can rework them into an actual song. Now, in that sense, I don't know whether or not that's considered plagiarism, because as long as I'm not making money off of something that the AI made, I feel like it's good, because then you're still just making the song. And if no one heard what the song sounds like, I feel like then it's justified. Now, when it comes with the kids, I mentioned this to one of them about Suno AI, and because this person is very zany, and I feel like it would be awesome to write a song with them, and then use the Suno to make it into a song. Now, I did explain to every single one of them that it's used for the idea to come up with the idea of what your song is going to sound like. Because if you start explaining to them what choruses are and melodies and harmonies, some of them might know, but a lot of them don't understand the basic knowledge of that stuff. So keeping it lightly is just like, if we made, or like, you get to listen to your song afterwards, but whenever you make the song for yourself later down the line, it's not right to upload that and make money off that, because it's not you singing. Yes, you wrote the lyrics for it, but the program chose from a variety of all the information of artists that it was fed by Google and whatnot to pick a voice that sounds exactly like whatever specific artist to sing that music. And because it's a work thing, I just thought, well, you know what? We'll make a bunch of songs. A lot of people were inspired by that one kid who made 2 songs. And this encouraged everybody to get into songwriting. Now, at the end of the day, it all comes down to what they're learning in the end. And because it's very easy for them to get hooked on an idea and only see the one side of things because they're kids. They don't see the other side because, they're not, their brains aren't fully developed. They don't understand morally right, ethically right stuff until later on. But to have that to have those songs that they wrote the lyrics for, and people enjoying them at all the other kids enjoying them, and influencing them to actually start writing lyrics and writing songs, was one of the coolest moments, coolest opportunities that I got. So much, like, so cool that I literally got compliments from my boss saying, like, you should be a music teacher with how well you can, like, explain your musical knowledge to kids and all that. And it was really cool, for obviously those reasons, but the other thing was then where I could show them music that they made through different genres that they didn't know about. Now, one thing that I really like about Suno is that they could basically come up with like different genres blended into each other, and that's what I've been using to literally make my own, or make those genres with my music program. I literally just hit dice on that app, and then I try to create the genre of that and normally turn it into a meme song. Like one kid wanted a metalcore song. So he had a metalcore song and he really liked it. And I could tell that I jokingly, but also kind of not jokingly, like they were kind of like throwing on concerts that I kept encouraging him. I'm like, dude, like what, like your favorite song, when this comes on, we got to start a mosh pit at the park. And it was like one of the coolest things. That was like, it was one of the coolest opportunities to have that moment. One of the most popular song out of all the kids is a pop punk song, and written with like brain rot terms and inside jokes regarding work and all that, which is it's pretty great. And a lot of people tend to get tired of pop music, which was a great thing. So a lot of them chose either rock, metalcore, rap, obviously. Country was a big one too. Country is probably the funniest, because a lot of them said like, I don't like country, but I like this, which was also pretty funny to hear. And I knew that this was gonna die out eventually. I mean, yeah, there'll be times where maybe once a week, like one kid might want to make a song, but it's been pretty dead pretty dead recently. So what I did do is, like, if they like this music and they like the AI music, well then I'm gonna add like real music to the playlist of those genres. And I definitely got a little too carried away. So like where I added some mathcore and stuff, but honestly, where it is now, I would say that it's a pretty great playlist for working at so my place is actually a sports arena. That's my main location. And because we do a lot of athletic stuff, and running around big areas, field houses and stuff, like I have a big speaker, and when you're in that big location, then you can kind of get away with playing more like mathcore stuff. But it's and then like when we're in the small room, I have like a little mini speaker that's still like pretty decently loud. Yeah, it really, depending on what people are feeling, it's definitely my experience from working with the teenagers. I understand like setting the moods correctly, because and that time I didn't have Spotify Premium, but now that since I do have Spotify Premium, it's so much easier to just, skip a song that someone instantly doesn't like, and it made it so much easier. Regarding that, some other interesting experiences, at least over the summer, was when I was working with the teenagers. I was really getting into dance punk, and then when I was working at summer camp, I got into like a brief crabcore. So I also bought like some old. I don't know if they're considered like they're not considered vintage. I wouldn't say because it's not like that old, but like 2009. I bought like 2009 like Attack shirts, and I bought like an Enter Shikari shirt. And on like the theme days when I wore those, like I got a lot of compliments. They're like, "Oh, that's such a cool shirt." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what people used to wear back in like 2009." And some of them were interested in like I played them "Sorry You're Not a Winner" by Enter Shikari, which is such a great song, and some of them liked it, others clearly didn't. But showing them specifically tracks that blend different genres together got them thinking about the type of music they want to make for the future. And I'm not talking about like with AI. I'm talking about like when they genuinely get a chance to play an instrument. And some of them did play instruments. One of them played bass, drums, and guitar, and that was really into like Green Day. That it was like it's inevitable that when you have that opportunity to showcase music to the younger generation and get them inspired to make their own music for the future. And like I mean, yeah, like you could also argue that it's like, well, they're young, they might just forget, but they will think back to those moments when they heard those crazy songs, not to mention the songs that they literally wrote lyrics for. And nowadays, it's pretty like it's pretty great. Like a lot, no one really complains about the music, which is nice. And I definitely would say that it's a specific location thing, probably because a lot of stuff are going on all the time, and it's big areas. Yeah, I'll get requests, some good requests too. Which is fine, and I'll also add them to the playlist so that we could just like go straight to them instead of having to look it up, because for some reason my phone and Bluetooth don't make a good combination. And the other thing too is most recently one of my favorite things that kind of helped me out through the day, and also like I feel like it also has an effect on them whenever I get there, before like we get into like the activities and stuff. There's always a group that likes to play mini sticks in the room, and because that not only are they loud, but also when the room gets loud, having music playing is not a bad idea because it actually balances the sound. When they know that they're louder than the music, it's actually a great way of managing how loud they actually are. And I just thought about it, and it was like, because my main issue with the playlist is that there's slower songs, and there's probably a lot of slower songs and slower indie songs, specifically indie folk, country, outside of the pop, punk, post-hardcore, metalcore, all that. That I wanted to make a specific playlist dedicated to basically music you would hear in hockey. Debatable on like in terms of where you are exactly, but more faster, upbeat songs, and even like some rap songs that go along with the flow of the game. That I literally put together a soundtrack specifically for mini sticks, and I even added some like bonus instrumental stuff like Madecore. And yeah, and that yesterday I think I only got in like 3 songs in, but when the first song played, it was like I don't remember what song it was, but it's by Radkey. That like they were into it. It really influences like the flow of the game, and a lot of them like they get hyped whenever they're playing. And yeah, that's my personal experience with the idea of showcasing music to the youth. We're talking about ages basically 5 to 12, and I've had a lot of like inspiration to make this video, specifically from shout out to the teachers on TikTok that do those TikToks where they like show their kids a song, and then their kids respond to like their reactions and reviews of the songs, as well as I think it's She Teaches Art. Most recently, like she's definitely the one that made me want to make this video, because and she brought a record player into the class, and she has like a bunch of like vinyls, and some of the kids brought their vinyls, and they play records like on the record player in class, which is pretty sick. And I definitely consider, like, I mean, yeah, it'd be cool to be a teacher, but and also my position now too is also pretty great, because the areas and the spaces that you would get, like, and also like even specifically, like, I know, because considering that I have been in charge of the music before, then you have to kind of like follow different rules with whoever's in charge, because there's open spaces. You don't have to worry about, like, my coworkers don't really complain because they know what I like, they know what the kids like, and they're just fine with it because they're getting paid. But then if you have a more serious person, then it's like, well, no screamo. Got spoiled that. But no, I also respect their wishes, and there's always balancing and choosing the right choices for the right moments. There are days that I'm so tired that I don't want to listen to any heavy music, and then there are days that I'm almost falling asleep that I need to listen to something upbeat and loud.
An important moment that I forgot to mention was over the summer when we had a staff versus kids dodgeball game, because I was the one with the big speaker. When I was playing the work playlist, the song that came on as soon as we had our dodgeball game was Reinventing the Exit by Underoath. And it was one of the coolest moments, because it almost felt like one of those TV moments, specifically, like, I think of like One Tree Hill, whenever like the perfect song comes on to like start a game or something. And it was like living in the moment in that thing, and it was awesome, because like for a song that has screaming in it, you'd think that a lot of people would be like, oh, shut that off. But no, all the kids and the staff, I don't know if they were focused on the game or if they just got in the same mood that like everybody else was, but everybody was along with it, and it was a very awesome moment that I'll always remember at working there over the summer.
That being said, I'll put out another big video later on, probably maybe a week, 2 weeks from now, talking about my next big announcement. But I wanted to make this video for a long time, talking about music, talking about wanting to share music with people. I probably mentioned that before in other videos, but at least talking with my experience, having a lot of fun. It doesn't really matter who at the end of the day I'm showing music to. It's a fun opportunity. I would love to be a DJ, because I know how to set the mood, and I also know so much music that I try not to make it my personality, because it does get annoying. And hearing people that tend to like know actual good music really, like, that also irritates me, because I don't want to be that person. But like eventually I'm gonna have to set up a band list, and the first song that's banned on the list is definitely Pokemon by Die Antwoord. I have no other issues with any other song but that song, and Die Antwoord in general, just no. That's a big no. Banned off the list. I haven't really gotten tired of anything else. But yeah, as long as you set boundaries, you know what the kids like, you know what you like, you know what's appropriate for the kids. It's a fun opportunity. If you don't know where to start, just go through the stuff you listen to, at their age up until now, that you think they would like. Or if you really don't know where to start, you could just go through my playlist. I will tell you that there have been accounts where I've realized that there were some words and stuff that weren't appropriate, and I had to remove those right away. Not because I got called out or anything, but because I literally heard some of those songs that I put on my favorite songs list this year. Heard one lyric, I was like, damn it, that song sounds so good, but that one lyric, no, I gotta remove it. It was Keys Be Nights by what the hell is the band? It's a really good ska punk song. Keys Be Nights by, yeah, I already forgot the name, but great song. And that being said, that's the video. I'd like to know your thoughts. I like to know your thoughts if you're in the field and you either have this opportunity or you want this opportunity, where to start, what to do. I could talk about, like, I could maybe answer some questions. Don't really know. Really depending on our work environments and our positions. But if you have any questions about uh, like the one thing that I will consider though is like there is definitely a difference between being a teacher and being a child and youth educator at a friggin' sports arena, because there will probably be rules, and I don't know if there's going to be specific rules regarding like Catholic schools, considering that I've come from a Catholic school. There was a teacher that would literally play I Prevail, Linkin Park, AFI. Well, the one thing that I will always remember is AFI, Miss Murder, which I would deem as not appropriate for school. There was also another teacher that listened to death metal. So, again, it really depends on school rules, teachers' rules. I would probably stick to not as heavy music in the classroom, but if you're in a gym, then go all out. I do feel like that when it comes to harsh vocals, kids either love it or hate it. That's why post-hardcore is a good balance. Because if you put on like something like Pierce the Veil, I know Pierce the Veil is probably the best bet. Because like Karma Phenelia that's like my favorite Pierce the Veil song. I had that playing, and I one time, and again, I definitely noticed the reaction. Some people kind of liked it, some people didn't. Sometimes I had that song playing one time when a parent came in. I also had Seduction by Alisana playing when a parent came in, and some of them, like, you can definitely tell that there's different tastes amongst the different people, kids. So you gotta know your place, you gotta know the mood. But yeah, that's it. Peace.